Now on River Region Evening Edition, the Republican representative has stepped down after weeks of questioning. Bruises on the man arrested for the Ferguson police shootings raise questions about his confession. And some SIU workers skipped the drive-thru for a walk across campus at lunchtime.
News from around the world, across the nation, and here in the River Region. This is the award-winning Student Newscast, coming to you live from Southern Illinois University. River Region Evening Edition begins now.
An Illinois congressman suddenly announces his resignation. Good evening, I'm Zach Barrett.
And I'm Robin Tinker. Representative Aaron Schock has announced he will resign at the end of this month. The congressman from Peoria has been at the center of investigations into using taxpayer money to fund personal trips and entertainment. His resignation came just hours after a report that mileage reimbursements for using his personal car far exceeded the car's actual mileage. In a statement, Schock said, "The constant questions over the last 6 weeks have proven a great distraction that have made it too difficult for me to serve the people of the 18th District." Someone fired shots in a park in Carbondale's northeast side. Carbondale police say it happened at Addicts Park on North Wall Street. Investigators says the shots came from a car driving south past the park. No one was injured. Police think a late model silver car was involved. No one has been arrested. Shots were also fired near the park last October while a flag football game was underway. No one was injured then either, and no one was ever arrested.
Police want to know if you recognize the man who stole from a Huck's convenience store in Murfreesboro. Investigators say it happened at 2:15 early Friday morning. After a conversation with the clerk, the suspect took merchandise and just left without paying. He's described as a white man about 40 to 45 years old wearing glasses. He was also believed to be driving a newer model red Dodge Avenger. Anyone with information in this is encouraged to contact the Murfreesboro police.
The Carbondale City Council will vote on a proposed solar power project. The city will vote March 24th for Brightfield's development. Brightfields wants to install solar panels on about 70 acres where a former Koppers chemical company was from 1905 to 1991. Residents fear that construction will pollute the air with the contaminated soil from the chemical plant. Acting Mayor Don Monty says Brightfields officials offered to pay the city an annual sum of around $500,000.
Hundreds of the brightest math students are in Carbondale today. They're here for the 58th annual Math Field Day. Nearly 800 high school students are here from Illinois, Missouri, Kentucky, and Tennessee. What are they competing for? Prizes and scholarships. The competition involves taking a challenging test created by the SIU Department of Mathematics. The student with the highest score gets a $4,000 scholarship. Courtney Finley from Vandalia says she's excited to start college and she actually likes taking tests.
We're actually doing something that I really like to do, is testing with math at SIU.
During award ceremonies this afternoon, Edwardsville High School won the large school division, Heron High School took the medium-sized one, and Lebanon High School won for the smaller schools. Alexander Osick of Belleville West won the overall high score and will be offered a scholarship to SIU.
There were bright and sunny skies out today.
It was nice, but it was a little chilly outside, so we're going to check with Courtney now for more on the weather. Courtney.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot chillier than yesterday, and those winds brought in even cooler feel with that wind chill, bringing you down a lot cooler than even what the temperatures were. Tonight we'll have a low of 32 degrees as we keep those cooler temperatures. By morning only 33 and by midday only 45. And as you experienced today, those winds are bringing in some cooler temperatures, gusts up to 26 miles per hour today. So we're experiencing a lot cooler temperatures and a possible warm up, or a possible cold front, but some warmer temperatures into the weekend, and I'll have more on those exact details and the precipitation amounts in my full forecast.
Thank you, Courtney. Our nicer weather is motivating more people to get active outdoors. Several SIU workers are taking their lunchtime walks across campus instead of driving to the fast food drive-thru. It's part of the SIU Wellness Center's health promotion. Wellness Center says setting short-term goals such as walking 5 to 10 minutes a day is the best way to get started. And as you begin to accomplish those goals, start setting more long-term ones. One of the participants says to her, exercising is more than just losing weight.
Well, for me, not only to lose weight and stay in shape, but also as I get older, things like flexibility. Also, I think it affects your mental aptitude.
The Wellness Center recommends before starting a workout routine to check with your health physician to see what's right for you.
An Air Force veteran has tried to join ISIS.
And a local veterinary clinic takes in new patients after this.
A U.S. Air Force veteran tried to join ISIS in Syria, but was turned back by Turkish authorities before he could get into the country. Tarad Nathan Webster Pugh, accused of making the attempt in January, was indicted by a grand jury this week on charges of trying to give material support to the terror group and obstruction of justice. Investigators discovered recent internet searches on Pugh's laptop for information on borders controlled by Islamic State and a chart of crossing points between Turkey and Syria, where ISIS controls some territory. Pugh was arrested during his return to the United States in January and will be arraigned Wednesday.
Ferguson police are denying allegations that they beat Jeffrey Williams for shooting 2 police officers during protests last week. Williams has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree assault, a count of firing a weapon from a vehicle, and 3 counts of armed criminal activity. With regard to the allegations that Jeffrey Williams was beaten by police, the St. Louis County Police Department calls these allegations completely false. Sergeant Brian Shellman said in a statement, immediately following the arrest, the arresting officers transported Williams to the St. Louis County Police Headquarters, where he was interviewed by the Crimes Against Persons detectives. This entire interview was video and audio recorded. Williams is being held on a cash-only $300,000 bond and could possibly face more charges.
Ferguson has resigned and fired several officials following the fatal shooting of Michael Brown. As the racial bias in the city continues, Ferguson residents have decided to take action. Residents have alerted City Hall that they have formed a committee to collect signatures. The signatures would force a withdrawal of current mayor James Knowles III. Knowles is concerned because it interrupts his plans to rerun for office.
The Illinois Supreme Court is holding an evening session of verbal arguments for Governor Bruce Rauner and state lawmakers to give them a chance to see the justices in action at 6:30 in Springfield. The case involves an amendment to the Illinois Juvenile Court Act. The amendment, passed by the legislature, allows 18-year-olds to be tried in juvenile court. Chief Justice Rita Garman says the session is a first-hand opportunity for lawmakers and leaders to witness the interaction of the 3 branches. Court officials say they believe it's been over a century since an evening session was held at the Illinois Supreme Court building. A little more than 16 million people have gained health insurance coverage since the Affordable Care Act became law nearly 5 years ago. The coverage additions have brought the largest drop in the uninsured rate to approximately 13% by the end of the first quarter of 2015. That's down about 20% before the health insurance market plans launched in late 2013. Health and Human Services Secretary Sylvia Burrell said the numbers prove that the Affordable Care Act is working and families, businesses, and taxpayers are better off as a result. Burwell credited the drop to Obama's signature health reform law from the expansion of Medicaid and a provision allowing young people under 26 to remain on their parents' health care plans. The Supreme Court is expected to rule on the latest challenge to Obamacare this summer.
Health officials say 4 more medical aid workers have arrived back in the United States from West Africa to be monitored for Ebola. Since Tuesday's arrivals from Sierra Leone, the number of return workers has risen to 16. Each worker came in contact with the colleague who came down with Ebola last week while working for Partners in Health in Africa. One worker who has Ebola is in critical condition at a National Institutes of Health hospital in Bethesda, Maryland, and Atlanta. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention say the aid workers are staying in hospitals near Maryland, Atlanta, and Omaha with special isolation units in case they become sick but have yet to be diagnosed.
Many people use alternative medical practices for their own health, and now some are also using alternative medicine, including acupuncture, for their pets. Evening Edition reporter Andy Ani shows us all about it.
Penny Lane is at the vet for an unusual procedure. The vet will take these needles and treat the dog with acupuncture. Dr. Patrice Isley at Creekside Veterinary Clinic says after the initial exam, they look at the animal from an Eastern medicine point of view.
And we proceed from there with applying needles to different meridian points, they call them, which basically are points running along different nerve pathways.
Acupuncture has been used to treat both humans and animals for thousands of years in Eastern cultures. The use of acupuncture is said to reduce pain, regulate gastrointestinal motility, regulate the immune system, and has an anti-inflammatory effect. Nancy Spear is bringing in her dog for treatment for his shoulder. Cato's acupuncture will take 20 to 60 minutes and cost from $80 to $100.
Dr. Isley started with the acupuncture and the Chinese herbs to kind of help his pain and help him be more vibrant. And the acupuncture, I really feel, helped.
If you're wondering if your pet might get upset if someone puts needles in him, then the vet could perform acupressure, which doesn't use needles. I'm Andiani from River Region Evening Edition.
Acupuncture for pets is not recommended by all vets. It's a controversial practice among many in the profession, even though many veterinarian schools do teach the practice. Well, it seemed like a perfect day outside yesterday, and today it got a little bit chillier. The forecast is up next.
And it was a mixed day on Wall Street. Stay tuned for the nightly business report that airs at 5:30.
Well, if you had your hopes up after yesterday, you were probably a bit disappointed today. And unfortunately, you're not going to get the temperatures that you had yesterday for a while. We're looking at a cold front throughout this week, some possible rain, and some very cloudy skies to keep those temperatures down at least below the 70 that we experienced yesterday, which was fantastic. Temperatures right now are 55, so really not too cool. But unfortunately, those high winds at about 17 miles per hour and some gusts up to 26 miles per hour are keeping us feeling even cooler than probably what that 55 might usually feel like. And for today, your average high is 55, so we hit it right on the money actually. Average low is 32, but luckily we're not dipping into any of those record lows, and that record high might be a little more than what we're ready for this time of year anyway. So at least we're staying in the mid-range. Belleville is about 52 today, so Cape Girardeau is all the way up at 58, so as you can see, the temperatures were well above maybe a 40 or 50, or I should say 45, which would be a little cooler than what we would have wanted today, but unfortunately still a lot cooler than what we experienced yesterday, almost enough to break a sweat. As you can see, the satellite map has the front moving in, which will bring some heavier snow really to our east. Luckily, we're not experiencing any more snow for at least a while, and only some light precipitation. As I said, as that front moves in, it should only be about less than an inch, really no more than about 1/10 of an inch whenever that precipitation rolls in Wednesday night throughout most of Thursday. And as you can see, here's a little measurement of that precipitation that we will be experiencing. The heavier will be to mostly the south of us, actually for the most part, yeah. We will be experiencing lighter rain, as I said before, less than 1/10 of an inch. So even though that precipitation is rolling in, we're not looking at any large scale amounts, although there is a flooding possibility, so make sure you're not driving in those flooded areas. Tonight, a low of 32 degrees, so we're dipping into those freezing temperatures, but luckily we're not getting anywhere below that for the time being anyway. Tomorrow, a high of 45 degrees, so staying, at least we're not down into those 30s again, guys. Winds out of the east, northeast, bringing in a little cooler temperatures tomorrow night. As you can see, that rain chance comes in. Mostly the rain will be throughout the day Thursday, so not so much Wednesday, but throughout the night that chance will be mostly after 9 p.m. And as you can see throughout the rest of the week, we're looking at temperatures at the most. You can see that 64 degrees on Saturday, so we're warming up again as the sun starts to peek around those clouds. But unfortunately, throughout the next few days, you might want to get those raincoats out, those rain boots, and maybe hit that tanning bed for a little that extra UV rays.
Well, I'm just happy the snow is finally gone.
Yeah, it's over with. No more snow boots, so that's
finally
a positive.
Good news.
Yeah.
Thank you, Courtney. It's here yet again. It's time to fill out those brackets, people. March Madness is starting up this Thursday.
And the SIU football team faced off with Bradley in a neck-and-neck game. We send it over to Sydney Kessler for more in sports. Sydney?
Thanks, guys. Well, the SIU golf team finished the second round at the Bobby Nicholas Intercollegiate Tournament in a great position. Saluki pitcher Aaron Hauge gets recognition for his recent success. And we're going to take a look at today's NFL Pro Day, where players showcase in front of NFL scouts. All that and more coming up.
And now the latest scores and highlights from across the River region. This is Evening Edition Sports.
It was a big day for many Saluki football players as they showcased their talents in front of NFL scouts in Southern Illinois Pro Day. Players performed in various drills and activities at Saluki Stadium. Tight end Michael Pruitt headlined the list of players participating in today's events. Pruitt, who impressed many at February's NFL Combine, looks to impress his stock going into April's NFL Draft. Today's Pro Day also gives players who were not invited to the NFL Combine an opportunity to show scouts what they can provide for an NFL team. One of Southern Illinois' players has been recognized for his performance on the mound. Saluki pitcher Aaron Hauge was named Missouri Valley Conference Pitcher of the Week last night. Hauge held number 19 Illinois State scoreless for 8 innings while allowing only 7 hits and piling up 6 strikeouts. This is the redshirt senior's first career MVC Pitcher of the Week honor and the first for a Saluki pitcher this season. Hauge and the Salukis will return to action tonight with a matchup against UT Martin. And speaking of Southern taking on UT Martin, here's a quick look at the matchup between the two teams. The baseball team goes into Martin, Tennessee with a 3-15 record. Tonight's starting pitcher will be Alex Lasak. Lasak currently has an 0-1 record and a 10.8 ERA. SIU is 29-8 all-time against the Seahawks since 1967, but under Coach Henderson, the team is 5-3. The crack of the bat is scheduled for 5 p.m. The SIU softball team extended their 3-game win streak after defeating Bradley 8-3 yesterday afternoon. The Salukis kicked off the conference play with a 3-game sweep of the Braves behind the arm of Katie Brelson, who won all 3 games in the series. The offense made sure to take care of their pitcher with 3 early runs in the first inning, including an RBI double from Brooke Womack.
Play very good defense, very sound fundamentals. You need to pitch well because teams can come back. So you do need to be able to close the door, and I thought Katie did a phenomenal job.
After the win, the Salukis are now 8-10-1 and will face St. Louis tomorrow at Charlotte West Stadium in Carbondale. After 2 rounds at the Bobby Nicholas Intercollegiate Tournament, the men's golf team is sitting pretty at first place. If the team is still in first place at the end of today's final round, they will claim their first tournament title in nearly 2 years. SIU's key to their success was solid scoring from all 5 golfers. In 9 of 10 individual rounds, Saluki golfers shot par or better. Drew Navarro has been on fire for Southern as he leads at 4 under par and recorded 11 birdies through 36 holes. Notable and solid performances were also recorded by Steven Solchek, Wade Thompson, and Brady Brown. The final round began 15 minutes ago. Tune in tomorrow for the full update. The famous March Madness tournament is right around the corner. But before this could happen, there had to be Arch Madness with an A. The last time I was here, I told you that I would have a full coverage of the event, and now we do. So if you missed the tournament, here's a quick recap of the action.
The NCAA Tournament March Madness begins this Thursday, but for SIU, the basketball season ended last Friday. The men fell in the second round of the Missouri Valley Tournament Arch Madness, and even though it was a disappointing loss, Coach Henderson is still proud.
And I'll tell you, our guys, they gave us everything that we asked them to do, and the best part of that is the glimpse, because when you start 2 freshmen and 2 sophomores against the number 8th team in the country, you definitely want a glimpse of your future and how it's going to be, and what I saw today was encouraging.
The first leg of the tournament began on Thursday with the men taking on the Missouri State Bears. The entire game was neck and neck, but the Dogs went on to take the lead and win 55-48. With this win, the Dogs moved on to play number 1 in the conference and number 8 in the nation, Wichita State. With the Dogs leading the first half but falling towards the end, Coach Henderson talked a little bit about what happened between the halves.
We're complaining about the officiating. We're pointing fingers at each other. We're not cutting. We're not doing. He's not trying to get. I mean, all that stuff just kind of came back, and in the second half we took care of it, and consequently we played better.
However, that good play was enough as the Shockers went on to win 56-45. After the game, top shooter of the night, Jalen Pendleton, commented on what he sees for the future of the team.
I mean, I think our future pretty bright. Guys like Jordan, Caroline, and Deion Lavender, those guys can play basketball. I just think with all of us coming back next year, we can make a big run.
For River Region Evening Edition Sports, I'm Sydney Kessler.
March Madness begins this Thursday, and if you haven't filled out your bracket yet, you should. The bracket is broken up into North, South, East, and West, and this is what it looks like. And many people have different strategies on how to put theirs together. Some base it off statistics, others team colors, and some even always go for the underdog. However, one thing that can be agreed on is that it's all luck. So good luck to everyone, and make sure to fill out your bracket before the first game on Thursday night.
Which strategies of those do you follow?
I mean, as much as I love colors, I like to go more statistics, and I think with that I have Kentucky winning it all. So, I don't know, have a couple bucks down.
Pretty safe pick.
Yeah.
They're good.
They're pretty good, so we'll see how it goes. I'm really excited about it.
All right, thank you, Sydney.
Thanks, guys.
We'll take another look at weather when we come back.
Courtney, if we can get a quick recap of weather.
Yeah, we're looking at some showers in the next few days, but luckily a warm up towards the weekend, so keep your eyes open for that, but keep your raincoats out for the next few days anyway.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you, Courtney. And thank you for joining us tonight. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at River Region News. I'm Zach Barrett.
And I'm Rama Tinker for Sydney Kessler and Courtney Bundy and more than 100 students who work on Evening Edition. Good night.